Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I am a blue dot in a red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting and trying times that we have going on here in the United States. So I really appreciate you joining me and welcome. So today's reading, I am going to focus on the recent whistleblower who has come forth. This was a story that was a huge story that was done by NPR. It was also being covered in mainstream media. I know CNN has carried it. I specifically watched the Rachel Maddow show on, what would that be, Tuesday, April 15th, when she did the overview of it, along with having both Daniel Berulis, who is the whistleblower, and his lawyer on her show. In the description, I'm going to link back to the NPR, since that was the original reporting there. If you have access to watch the Rachel Maddow overview of that, as I said, it was the April 15th show. Absolutely worth watching. It was excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to read from this because there's a lot here. If you have not seen this or listened to this, pause this video, go listen to the NPR story. As I said, I've got the link. You could read it, you can watch it, and it's something. So Daniel Berulis he works in IT, and he works at the National Labor Relations Board. Okay. And what he is claiming, and what he put into his disclosure to Congress, is that basically, and as I said, I'm doing the really brief overview. This was there. I think there was like something like 30 sources that NPR had. I mean, this is a huge story. Okay, so basically, he is claiming in his disclosure that Doge breaks in, opens accounts with, the user ID and passwords from which to work from. They turn off the security. Okay, so the security systems that would keep our data safe, they turn those off. Okay, and basically what they've done is they leave the doors wide open for there to be hacking to happen. And so what happened was, then all of a sudden there's an increase in logins from out of the country using that username and passwords from Doge. So and it was Russia. However, you can, as Rachel pointed out, you can spoof your IP addresses. And so it appeared as though it was coming from Russia. Now, whether it was, that is, this is what is in the disclosure. Okay, so that's definitely something they would need to be finding out more. Like, did it really come from Russia? It appeared to. Okay, and so the reason that they were thwarted, the reason that nobody got in using these passwords that Doge had created, was because Doge did not turn off the security system portion that prevented logins from outside the country. So that was the only thing that saved that piece of it. However, and he brings the receipts. I mean, what they've shown is, Mr. Berulis has brought the receipts. Okay, so he has a bunch of outbound traffic of data went out. And they show on this graph, it's like, normal data, and then all of a sudden this, huge spike of data going out, and then it drops back down to like normal levels. And as I said, he brought the screenshots of that, showing that. And while he was doing his own investigation, he was, taking the screenshots and, doing what he needed to be able to back up his claims. What happened was that in this, he received, before he even went to Congress, he received, from what I understand, okay, so I may be misunderstanding this, but from what I understand, he did receive a threatening letter. As I said, I think this was before he went to Congress. He received a threatening letter that included an overhead picture of him walking his dog. So they sent a drone. Whoever this was sent a drone and took a picture of him that was attached to this letter. And there was information in there that would have only been available to someone within the National Labor Relations Board, okay, or somebody that had access to all of that private data. And one of the things was he had just moved. And so, like, that was one of the only places that had his new address, and that this letter was taped to his door. So, they got his address. They took a picture of him with his dog and then left this threatening letter. Okay. And that has been turned over to law enforcement. And the whole point of Mr. Berulis coming forward is being reported that he is asking for there to be an independent investigation by law enforcement and Congress. The National Labor Relations Board, which is under, control of Trump now, has said nothing to see here. There wasn't a breach. Just keep on moving. Okay. They are saying that there wasn't a breach. And, like, if you believe that, okay. So, and the other reason that he is coming forward right now is that he has friends in other departments, in other agencies that would have the same level of expertise. He's an MIT grad in IT. Okay. He knows what he's looking at. And that he says that he has colleagues in other departments and in other agencies that have seen the same thing, that have the same evidence, essentially, and that he is hoping that there's courage in numbers, and that by him coming forward, there will be more coming forward. And that is definitely one of those questions I'm going to be asking. The other thing that I want to point out, I know this intro is getting long, but so just bear with me. I am going to get to the reading here in just a moment. The other thing, as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this and I'm reading, about this, I'm like, I did a reading on the hackers, like somebody coming forward. The little Doge boy hackers. And I was like, what reading was that? And something about me is like, I do these readings and I don't always remember, like what I say. That was one reason why I want to start recording. It's like information in, information out, and I move on to the next thing. And I don't really remember the specifics. So it took me a while, but I did find the reading, and it was 2 months ago. What I got was that one of the coders was going to start having change of heart, and that he was seeing the destruction that he was being caused by Doge, and that he was going to come forward with receipts, and it was kind of like a CYA type thing. And so I will say that in Tarot, I can see how it would be very easy to misinterpret that. Doge with that level of expertise, and then somebody in IT with that level of expertise, that would come across very similar. Like, it would be difficult for me to tell the difference. So, but I did get, and as I said, it was about 2 months ago that there was going to be a whistleblower. I thought it was someone in Doge. It was an IT person that was going to be coming forward. The other thing I found really interesting in that was I had said, like, when would we be expecting this? And I got 2 weeks, and it ended up being 2 months. So that's another example of, Tarot really gives us kind of this blurry picture, and as things start happening, things start coming more into focus. And that would be one example, is like what I thought was 2 weeks, and we absolutely was having this stuff coming out, kind of being, doled out to us, this, what we were seeing. But now here we are 2 months later. That initial reading, and I'm going to, at the end, I always say, subscribe, and here's another video. I'm going to put that video right up here for you to link so that you can watch it. It was about how they are interfacing this untested, unproven AI code with this, what would be considered antiquated coding, from the government systems, and that it wasn't going to work. And now we have coming out from the Social Security Department that it's not working. The system is crashing because of, and it has been reported, and I quote, untested and unproven coding is causing these crashes. And so, so that was interesting just in that for me to go back. So I will link that reading. As I said, it'll be, subscribe, watch another video for you to go back and watch that too. So it's interesting to go back and kind of rewatch some of those older videos and those older readings. So with all of that being said, I want to look into this whistleblower, kind of do a base reading. Where is this going to go? Like, does he have, was there actually a breach in this? The labor union, National Labor Relations Board is saying there was no breach, but this guy's got the receipts. So I want to do a base reading into that. Just kind of where does that go? Are other people definitely want to know, are there going to be more whistleblowers? I think I have a feeling I know what the answer to that is going to be, and the answer is going to be yes. I think that there are going to be additional, but I will do a reading on that just to make sure. And then, yeah, we'll just kind of go from there, and I'll see what else comes up. So thank you so much for being patient with this really long intro. I do appreciate it, but I felt like, I kind of needed to set that up, especially if you hadn't heard the NPR story or watched any of the other reporting. As I said, Rachel did excellent job. April 15th show. Okay. So, and once again, this is just an example of, here's a big story, and I'm going to look at it, just kind of pulling that curtain back a little bit and seeing what we have going on here. So, as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay? Entertainment purposes only. Just base reading into Daniel Berulis and his claims about Doge breaking in, allowing access from potentially Russia to break in. Okay, so what's going on here? Just base reading into Mr. Berulis's claims. Okay, with that, yes, there are going to be more people coming forward. This is a card of rejoicing. People are happy. People coming together, sharing in food, merriment, and drinks. So, not that they're happy about doing this. I'm kind of surprised that this card would be the one coming up, just because but yeah, this is people coming together for a common cause, and being supported in that. Okay, restrictions. Okay, what is it that Doge did? Okay, what is it that happened to the coding? Usually coding I get with wands. This is swords, so this is also kind of wondering what court cases there could be. This is just the anxiety and stress. And if you saw that interview, I mean, Mr. Berulis is real. I mean, that letter, that threatening letter, that was very shaking for him. I mean, he was definitely very, you could tell he's concerned, and understanding why his colleagues would be concerned as well. Okay, so stress and anxiety, but still coming forward and doing what is right. Okay, so he's setting an excellent example for anybody else out there who has got similar information that he does as well. A righteous cause, a righteous path. Okay, this is shining that, going within, shining your light for, and stepping forward for this righteous cause, and that he's bringing the receipts. Okay, he's bringing the evidence of what happened with these hackers. Okay, for our country. Okay, he is seeing this, as his patriotic duty. And he's asking his colleagues in the other departments and other agencies to do the same thing. Okay. Justice. It's a righteous cause. Okay. I'm interested if the courts are going to be intervening in this as well, like what's going to come out of this. Because right now, this could also be Congress doing an investigation. I don't think that it's going to be Republicans leading that investigation. I am pretty certain that's probably going to be the Democrats. It could also be, they've asked law enforcement law enforcement, I believe that they've turned the letter over, and I think law enforcement is at least looking into that threatening letter. So that'll be one to absolutely see, where does this investigation go? Who takes up this investigation? And, power to the people. Okay. And that he has a strong case too. He has an absolute strong case with this. So as I'm looking at this, just to kind of summarize, there are people that definitely have receipts, and the stress and the anxiety about coming forward, but it's a righteous cause that they're going to do for our country, and that they know they're in a position of strength. I also getting the feeling like they need some guarantees of protection in this also. That's just the feeling I'm getting. It's like we're in a position of strength. We're in to do this, but we've got to have some protections if we do this. That's kind of what they're saying. So with this I want to come back here to the very center of this 3 of Cups. Are there going to be more people coming forward? Okay. Are there going to be more people coming forward with similar evidence to support his allegations? Okay, and with more people coming forward, yes. You know, the Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody. Let me see what else there is going to be here. Excuse me. Yes, there is. Once again, I'm feeling like they need extra. They're saying they need something, and I'm feeling like the protection. You know, they've seen what happened, so they're wanting the protection for if they come forward with this. Karma, Wheel of Fortune, the wheel is turning. Those that are on time, and if you have been watching my readings for a while, you know that I say, here we are, the common people getting thrown off the wheel, but the hand of fate keeps turning, and these oligarchs that are on top, they're getting ready to be flung off this wheel. So this is definitely a card of the wheel keeps turning, and karma's a bitch. So yes, they have evidence. There is more evidence out there. There are more people out there with this evidence, and they're concerned about their well-being. They're concerned about their safety. I see this as winning at all costs, and they know that that's exactly what the government will do. They know that. I mean, it's them against this Trump and Musk administration, and that has got to be terrifying. I mean, I know that sometimes I am concerned about, is freedom of speech going to hold, because I'm, doing these readings, speaking out. And, and so I do understand. And I'm like so far out on the outside edge, low of the totem pole. And I have those concerns. The thought has crossed my mind a moment or two. And so here you've got, they're asking themselves, do they want to throw themselves into the fire? The answer is they're going to, but after they get some of these protections in place for themselves. Yeah. They saw what Doge was doing. This Eight of Pentacles is the work that has been done, work that is continuing to be done. And so they have the receipts. They've seen what has happened. And they rise up. So yes, yeah, that is their, once they get those protections in place for themselves, then yes, they will be coming forward with more evidence. So, does Congress take this up? And I'm going to assume it's going to be just the Democrats that will be doing this, that will be looking into this. We'll see. But, Republicans also said that they wanted investigations into Signalgate, and I don't think we've seen that. So let's see. Will at least the Democrats be, holding some type of investigation? This is a, card of bickering and fighting and going into a new direction. I think that this is the Republicans, the MAGA they don't want anything uncovered. And so they're turning their back on this. Excuse me. I'm getting over that upper respiratory thing. And so I'm sorry that I'm coughing. I'm at the very tail end of this. So hopefully I get over this a little bit sooner because I'm tired of the hacky cough. So yeah, what I get is the investigations. There's bickering, there's fighting. MAGA just turns their back on it. They don't want to have anything to do with it. The government, the Hierophant is probably, I often see this as like it's the spirit of these institutions, it's the spirit of the government, it's the spirit of the law that they're just turning their back on. But to come together, so there is a partnership in this. I don't expect it to be from MAGA. There may be some of those moderate Republicans. I keep getting that at some point the Democrats really are going to be able to peel off some of those, just enough of those moderate Republicans to make a difference. Okay, so that is going to be this partnership here. Getting to the bottom of this, the Star card. What is it that, we're going to investigate this? This is also the hopes and dreams. So what have they done? What have they done to our government? What has Doge done to our government? They want to get to the bottom of this. And the burden card. This tends our completion. Okay. And the 10 of Wands is, like, you may have got what you wanted, but damn, that was a hard fight. And so this is telling me that there's a burden. This could be several things. It could be so much evidence, like there's undeniable evidence against what Doge is against what Doge has done, what Musk has done, what Trump has enabled. This could also just be the burden of the investigation, like the White House is trying to stop everything, and from there's nothing to see here. And that's where MAGA is going to really be screaming. The louder they scream, just know the more evidence that there's going to be. Okay. So is there going to be let me look at this. Any Republicans, are they going to start, is this going to be what finally starts peeling off some of those moderate Republicans to come over into the Democratic camp to be able to put a stop to some of this stuff? Are we going to finally get some moderate Republicans standing up for what's right? My cards somehow, some of these got turned upside down. Okay, so they see what's happening and they want justice to be served. A lot of messaging coming out of this. And once again, they could just be seeing the evidence, like it's undeniable. This evidence that is going to continue to come out is going to be undeniable. And yeah, there's this, like, they don't want to look at it. MAGA doesn't want to look at it. They're like, la 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 la, I can't see you. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just not going to look. That is what is feeling here. So the Two of Swords, and it could also be like some of the stuff I'm feeling could be like national security concerns, and so they may have to do some of this behind closed doors because it's just too sensitive to even release to the public. So but hey, Doge released it possibly to Russia, gave them that backdoor access. So let me get just, what is this Two of Swords? Two of Swords, messaging, this hacking, this coding, bringing the receipts, and and in that original reading that I did 2 months ago, I was getting that there was going to be one of the coders that had a change of heart that brought receipts. That could be that. This could also just be, as I said, it would be difficult for me to differentiate between IT, like career employees that are in IT that doing this versus like a Doge person, because they're going to both be those ones. And this could even be like a supervisor in this department comes forward with evidence. Like you've got people from all levels of government, from entry level IT to maybe even supervisor type IT. And with this Two of Swords, like either Doge didn't want this information to come out, or some of these hearings have to be behind closed doors because the data is so sensitive that they can't have this stuff getting out. Okay. So, yeah, with that, if I'm going to come back here to this original reading under all these cards down here somewhere, is that, yes, there's going to be additional people coming forward. I'm feeling like they want securities in place for themselves. They need some personal assurances of their safety and security in order to do that. There could be some of these moderate Republicans coming forward for this. I'm going to pick up some of these cards. I've got cards everywhere here. That some of those moderate Republicans could start coming forward. Okay. So this is not a story that's going to go away. Once again, I'm going to do time and tarot. You should think I would have learned after that. Tarot readers never learn. We always ask time and tarot, and we always say, we know it's so difficult, but please, maybe it's like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. Maybe this time I'll get a good timing card. Or getting, good idea with timing. So when can we kind of expect to see more movement on this? When can we start seeing more movement on this? Because this reporting just came out. This is like brand new. As I'm doing this reading, this is brand new reporting that came out on Tuesday. Let me get this date here from, Tuesday, April 15th. I'm not sure when I'm going to actually post this reading. I do several readings at once and then I schedule them out. So we'll have to see. But when I'm doing this reading right now on Wednesday, the day after this reporting, it was brand new at the time. So time and tarot. Let's see. When can we expect either more whistleblowers, more movement, more something? And I'm just going to do like 3 cards here. When can we expect more? Disappointment, and so you get 5. Disappointment, but there's hope. Investigation's absolutely going to be happening with this, and 2, passion, 6. So if I'm just looking, and the reason I'm saying 2 is you've got 2 cards here, you've got 2, and then 2 people coming together. The 2s are really standing out in this. I also get, like the literal number of this card is 5 to 6. I'm kind of feeling like this could happen a little bit. I always want to say I am impatient and I want this to happen sooner rather than later. So, 5 to 6 days, let's say that, within this next week, there could be more on this. Let's see what steps can we, what's our next steps? What can we be looking for? To know that this is actually, doing something. And so with that, once again, just real short 3 cards here on when can we expect something. The 10 of Pentacles, like things are completed, things are done. They're controlling, the security, the money, methodical plan forward. It's like if the courts get involved, it's like discovery and methodical, and like this is the evidence, and we're just going to be taking those methodical steps. So this is telling me it's not going to happen as quick as I would like for it to happen. And things are just up in the air. I think that this is like the fact finding, that there are people in Congress who have absolutely taken note of this. As I said, this was brand new reporting as I'm doing this reading, and they're looking into it. The justice here, this could definitely be law enforcement that's already looking into the threatening letter. Okay. So yeah, expect there to be more fact finding, and this is up in the air. I don't know that we're going to hear anything. It may be a week before we hear anything more on this. This is when it comes to time and tarot. This is where like most tarot readers, like I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it happens really fast. But if the courts are involved, we know it's a very methodical approach. And so, yeah, that methodical card is telling me it's not going to happen quite as quickly as we want. I hope I'm wrong. And that there is going to be fact finding. So when's the next thing? What's the next thing we're going to hear? We're going to have more whistleblowers come forward. Like, well, we know that part. And with more whistleblowers, security, they want their security to be insured first. They want their security to be insured first. And the Tower card. Yeah, there's going to be more. There's going to be more. And that's a real appropriate card, I think, to end on, is the Tower card. So they want their safety and security to be insured before they come forward, because they're really concerned about that. And I would say rightfully so. I mean, this administration there's some scary shit out there, what they're doing. And the Tower card, it all blows up. This case is going to be just blow up wide open. Now, with this card, and I keep saying, and I really am going to be doing All Roads Lead to the Tower card. That is a reading I have coming up. I have to think about how I kind of want to form those questions. Basically, what I'm seeing and what I'm getting in almost every reading is like every road leads to the Tower card. Them defying the courts, what they've done to Mr. Abrego Garcia, what they're doing here, what they're doing with Social Security, what they're doing. I mean, there's just all these pieces, the people rising up. And the peaceful protests that we get. I mean, Harvard has said it's like 3.5% of society can like bring society to a halt. And the last count was like 2% were at those protests. So we're getting there. And so, what's it going to be? And I'm kind of feeling like it's all coming to this moment. I don't know that it's going to be any one thing that does this administration in. It's like, it's all of it culminating together. And this is just one more piece to that we're seeing here. Okay. All these breadcrumbs are leading to this Tower card. Okay. So with that being said, as I said, whenever I'm doing this reading the day after that reporting, but it's probably not going to post until next week. I may even have to redo this reading if some more things come out. I'll do an update for it. But yeah, it looks like there are definitely going to be more people coming forward. They need to have their security assured before they, come forward. That's going to be kind of one of those pieces that they want. And Congress is going to look at that. I think as more evidence comes out, you're going to start getting some of those moderate Republicans. And I keep getting that pretty consistently, is that there's going to be moderate Republicans, and there's only needs to be a handful in both the House and the Senate. And it can really flip it can change the balance of power there pretty quick in Congress. And that's when we'll really start seeing, that Tower card hit. So with that being said, thank you for joining me, and thank you if you sat through that whole intro, thank you so much. As I said, this is a big thing. So subscribe, and then I'm going to put that other reading, and I think it was like error 404 file not found, but whatever that reading is, I'm going to put right here so you can go back and check that out, where I talk about the Doge hacker is towards the end of that. It's like one of the last questions. So the whole reading is very interesting, but if you want, you can skip there towards the end. As I said, I think it's like one of the last questions I ask on that. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time and you being here. And as I said, we're navigating through these troubling times, and I'm just utilizing tarot as one way of kind of pulling the curtain back on these bigger news stories and just kind of seeing, okay, where is this going to go? Because right now, it's that fear of the unknown. We really don't know, like what's going on. And tarot is just kind of giving us that little bit of an insight, hopefully to help. Hopefully my goal is to help us breathe and help empower us for those, for what's coming up and what we're going to, be seeing moving forward. So thank you. Subscribe, other videos, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.